Almost 5 years ago, I bought this watch, my Rolex Explorer, and it was my first luxury watch. And I know I'm like every other watch YouTuber out there talking about the Explorer, and I admit, I bought into the hype big time. This is about when the Explorer was big on YouTube and everyone was talking about it at the time, and it did influence my decision a lot back in 2019. And you may find yourself in the same situation, wondering, you want to buy your first luxury watch, what should you buy? I'm going to talk about kind of why I made my decision, how I feel about it now 5 years later, how it fits into my overall collection, and just general advice. If you're out there and you're looking to buy a luxury watch and you're nervous about it and you're trying to figure out what's the best decision for you, kind of how to structure your thinking. It won't tell you exactly what watch to purchase. You don't need to buy an Explorer, but how to think about it, I guess. And then generally what I think are some good options for a first luxury watch. So you're out there, you've got a budget kind of that you're looking to pay. Obviously, you're probably going to stretch that a little bit in the end. You're looking at dive watches, you know about chronographs, you know about different brands, you know about JLC, Grand Seiko, Rolex, Omega, Panerai. I mean, there's so many options out there. It's hard to pick one. So what do you pick, right? You're just kind of confused. And here's what I would recommend. Take the long-term approach. Understand that if you're watching this video, you're probably not going to buy this watch and it be your only watch. It's just not how it works. I thought this was going to be my only watch. I thought I'm going to buy this, $5,000. I'm never going to buy anything else. That's insane. But as you get older, like if you enjoy something, you're not just going to quit it. If you enjoy playing a sport, you won't just quit it one day because you won a tournament. You want to keep enjoying what you're enjoying, right? So I enjoy buying watches. I enjoy collecting. I've always enjoyed collecting. And so why would you deprive yourself, I guess, of that? So understand that this is probably not going to be your only watch. This is one of many. So with that in mind, the next point that you need to know is the goal here is not to sell it. For me, I don't wear a 36mm watch really that often anymore. I still love this watch. I think it wears great. I have no problems with the watch at all. And when I put it on, I remember why I liked it in the first place. But it doesn't mean this is my favorite watch, bar none still, right? Some months I like other watches in my collection more than I like this. I don't even wear this all that often these days because, well, I do this and I cycle through other watches. Just because this is your first luxury watch doesn't mean that it has to be the watch you love the most for the rest of your life. And I think all of that stuff is false advertising, I guess. But when you buy it, my biggest recommendation is after you buy it, never let yourself sell it. Promise yourself that you will keep it. Some people sell it and they're fine with that and they buy something else and enjoy it. I am someone that I prefer to keep something because the memories around it are what make it so special to you, not the buying experience. If I just bought this and put it in a box, in a safe and said, hey, that's my first luxury watch, but I never wore it, I never built memories around it, I wouldn't have what makes this connection important. You have to force yourself sometimes to wear that watch as well. So my 5 tips. First, don't overstretch your budget. Do not go in debt to buy a watch. It's not worth it. It doesn't make any sense. These things are not appreciable assets. I understand that that's been a theory in the past recently. They're not. They are a semi-asset in the fact that you can sell it in order to get liquid cash back. But typically, almost every watch I've ever sold, I've taken a hit on. At least 10%. You know, it doesn't matter how well you buy it, how much of a deal it is. Someone else is going to want to buy it at a deal also. And I've typically lost money on every watch I've sold. There are very few examples that I haven't lost money. So don't overstretch your budget. Don't put yourself in debt. Just wait and buy it when you can. 2, don't buy something that kind of like fixes the itch or you think it could, right? Like a good example of that is if you really love the Submariner, for example, don't buy a less expensive alternative like the Tudor Black Bay. It's a great watch. Don't get me wrong. The Tudor Black Bay 41 that just came out, it's a great watch. So is the 58. But you have to know what you want. And if you try to scratch the itch with something else, it just won't do it. Maybe after you buy the watch, let's say you buy a Submariner and then you realize that you don't love it as much, you prefer something else, then fine. But if you try to buy the alternative before you've bought what you really want, you're probably not going to end up happy. So make sure you take the time to buy the watch you really want. 3, be realistic about what you'd actually wear. Maybe you love JLCs and the look of them and the feel. I certainly do. I love Cartiers, the Cartier Tank Americain. I have a review coming out of the Cartier Tank Americain soon. I love the Santos de Cartier, the Tank Solo. I've done reviews of those too, but I don't wear them. I work in manufacturing. I can't wear that watch on a day-to-day basis. Realistically, I have to wear something pretty subdued, typically black dial, something slightly under the radar, and something that I can scratch up a bit without crying about it and it not looking out of place. And a tank in the middle of a manufacturing facility does not make sense. It does not fit in, and it will get scratched up like crazy. So it doesn't fit with my lifestyle. If you wear a suit every day, maybe you have more flexibility. If you don't wear a suit, probably don't buy a dress watch. 4, try it on. If you can't try it on, then buy something and intend to return it if you don't like how it feels on your wrist. I've bought from Watchbox in the past and returned the watch because it hasn't looked good or felt good on my wrist, and that's totally fine. You shouldn't feel guilty about returning it. Some people don't like returning things. I know Amazon's slightly different, but these luxury watches, they feel weird because they talk to a salesperson and now returning it feels like slimy, like you're breaking your word. You should be okay returning it if you don't like how it fits on your wrist. So try it on if you can. If you can't, then at least make sure you can return it. 5, you can change your mind. It's okay. If you buy a watch as your first luxury watch and you wear it for a month and then you realize you just aren't connecting with it, you can change your mind. Now, I would not say sell it in order to buy something else just because that other one is more attractive to you at the moment. It has to be that you can't connect with this one, which is why I would say after you buy the watch, stop watching YouTube for several months and enjoy the watch. Don't watch me, don't watch anyone else, don't watch any other reviews. Like, sign off after you purchase a watch so that you can enjoy it without any other opinions or impressions or thoughts. What are good first luxury watches, right? That's why you're watching this video. Honestly, I think there's a huge number of good watches. I do think that there's a reliability around having something that's more iconic, only because a lot of us drool over them for a long period of time, myself included. Like the Speedmaster, I think is a great first luxury watch because it fits into any collection. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to keep this or wear it when you're later on in life. The same is honestly true for the Submariner. It's boring, sure, but if you're gonna buy one, like, it does fit. This is the modern example. I do think that it's probably not worth over retail for something like this. I know people are paying it. I would look at an older variant. I do like the modern one. I don't think it's cold at all. People will say that every so often. The aluminum bezel gives them that like feeling of richness. But to be fair, a lot of us justify our purchases after we've purchased them. So, you know, I like this one. I think anyone can like any version of the Sub, but a Submariner I think is great. The Explorer I do think is a good option. So is the Omega Aquaterra if you're looking for more of a versatile piece. If you're someone that knows they're gonna have a relatively limited collection, or you don't have the resources or funds to purchase, you know, 12 watches over the next course of 20 years, then makes sense. You know, buy something that's versatile that you're gonna wear all the time. But if you're really in this hobby, if you're really watching video after video after video, you're probably gonna buy more than one watch. You're probably gonna have like specific segments for each watch. And I do think planning around that does make some sense. Some of the other recommendations I would have would be kind of price specific. If you buy something that's really expensive to start with, then I think you're really tempted to sell it to buy something else. Like if you buy a Submariner first as your first luxury watch, like I can resell this for like $10,000 or $11,000, which means that you can buy a lot of watches for that amount of money. You could buy multiple watches for that amount of money. And I think that temptation is far too easy and is difficult, I think, to resist, especially if it's your first luxury watch. Whereas something like a Tudor Black Bay 58, you can buy a blue variant of that on eBay right now for like $2,600, $2,700 with box and papers. That's a great watch, right? It's a fantastic wearing experience. It's really versatile. It fits as a diver in a collection. If you really want a Sub, then don't buy that one because it won't scratch the itch, but it's a great watch, you know, and it's not so expensive to the point where you think you could sell it for 3-4 different other watches. So I do think there's some merit in kind of measuring that price that you're willing to pay. If you're someone that's more dressy, I would look at Grand Seiko. Now, I do understand that a lot of people don't like their bracelets, and they're fine. They're not my favorite, but they're fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with them. I like that it's light, it's wearable. The dial is beautiful. The fact that they're hand finishing the watch and hand finishing the hands, I think is really nice. You also could buy a vintage watch that's on eBay that is also unique and special and you have a connection to. Your other option for a first luxury watch, honestly, is to go totally left field and to buy something that's just off the radar that most people don't know about. And because it's so unique and because there's that connection to that uniqueness, I think it makes it have lasting power. A very good example is gonna be a watch that I'll review here soon, and that's this. This is a Jaeger Benzinger. This is a dress watch made by a man named Johann Benzinger. He lives in Germany. He is a guillocher. He's a master guillocher. Everything in his warehouse is like early 20th century, like mechanical rose turn engines, and he hand saws out and skeletonizes. You can buy a watch that's hand guilloched, hand frosted with a silver dial, handmade heat blued hands in Breguet style that's very classic. And then on the backside, you have a hand engraved balance cock and guilloched bridges in the mechanics that are then plated in rhodium and rose gold. It's beautiful. And that watch, if you go on Watch Buys, you can buy that watch for like $5,300, which is insane. That right there is an example of like, I've gone way down the rabbit hole. And if you do that too, then that is a first luxury watch where you really probably will never sell it. You have a connection to a person, right? Now that is a totally different first luxury watch. And I think a deeper connection than even with a brand specifically. Now you can buy a Rolex if you're into brand right now, which you might be if this is your first luxury watch. Like Rolex is a great brand. There's nothing wrong with it. People love to hate Rolex, but there's nothing wrong with buying a Rolex as your first luxury watch. I certainly did. I recommend it. Same thing for Omega, same thing for Grand Seiko, same thing for JLC, same thing for Panerai, same thing for Breguet. Like there are a lot of really good brands out there. So I know I kind of rambled about a lot of different things, but buying a first luxury watch is something I'm more than happy to help with. If you want to message me on Instagram, you have my Instagram down below. I like responding to people to talk about it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to purchase, but you know, talking to people as they make this decision is something I really enjoy. And you can do it in the comments too. If you leave your comment down below, I'm happy to respond there as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.